Perfect. And we are live. Excellent. Just waiting for the little blue line to go across. Awesome. We're live. Excellent. Hello, everybody in Helping the World Sleep Better. Hope you've had an amazing Wednesday. Yep, it's definitely Wednesday. It's been one of those days. I don't even know what day it is. I'm Emma Woolrich and I'm welcoming back. Can you believe this? We've been going only a couple of weeks and we've already got repeat live guests, which is fantastic. So Jeremy, thank you so much for coming back and agreeing to be a regular slot here in Helping the World Sleep Better. Hope you've had a wonderful Wednesday.
Yeah, I have had a pretty good day. Thanks for having me. And yeah, g'day to everyone. Hopefully we'll provide some really nice ideas tonight.
Excellent. And Jeremy, you've given me a couple of topics for what we're going to be covering over the next couple of weeks. I'll keep an eye on who's watching us live in the group. Janet is with us live. Hello, welcome, Janet. And if you are watching, I know we've got a couple of people. If you are watching, just pop a little wave, hello, in the comment box so that myself and Jeremy can say hello. We've got 4 people watching now, just waiting to see where you're from in the world. We had a pretty global audience last week. Let's see if we can get a few more countries involved. Who knows? So, Jeremy, pretty much the same format as last week. We just said we'd keep this really informal and everybody in the group found this really useful. So Jeremy, for anybody who wasn't here last week, they've not caught up on the live from last week or watched the YouTube episode, could you just give the audience a quick synopsis of who is Jeremy Walker and why is sleep so important to you?
G'day everyone, I'm Jeremy Walker. I've got a hypnotherapy clinic here in Brisbane. Working on sleep is one of the loves I have. Part of the reason for that is that it's something that can occur naturally when we get the right systems in place. So I like anything where we can kind of have a list of what doesn't work, a list of what does work, and then do as many of those good things as possible. And also incorporating the heart into that as well. So we kind of are bringing that logical side, like what works versus doesn't work, but then we also want to have the feeling side being taken care of as well. And I just love, yeah, helping people with sleep and definitely getting a good night's sleep myself. I've had periods where I've gone weeks and months where sleep hasn't been great. I'm somewhat of a sensitive sleeper. So something I've always got to keep on top of myself as well.
That it's always a really big wake-up call, isn't it, when you realise that you take sleep for granted when you're having really great sleep, and you don't realise how much you take it for granted until you have one of those like moments when it just evades you for whatever reason.
Oh, that's a great point. I think with my own health and sleep included, I just thought I could do whatever I want, ran my body as hard as I could, but ended up with fatigue, anxiety, and sleep problems. So yeah, definitely something I did the work on myself too.
Yeah, it's a good conversation for us all to have, because this is something that no matter what walk of life, it doesn't matter. We're in unprecedented times right now with COVID-19, and you may be, as we're going into the topic of what you want to talk to us tonight about and give us some hints and tips about with dealing with stress, we might not even realize that we're actually exhibiting stress symptoms, or we might not realize that we're actually feeling quite stressed. And sleep and patterns in our sleep, this is, I suppose, one of the reasons and the ways it may actually come out. Is that what you think, Jeremy? I don't want to put words in your mouth, you're the expert on this.
Yeah, that there can be hidden stress, and that can definitely affect sleep. I remember one gentleman think he was in his 50s. I saw him about 3 years ago, and mentioned even though previously going through quite stressful times, he was in the armed forces and deployed overseas. It was only when going through a court case several years later, and I'd say court would be in the top 3 most stressful things any person can go through, having like ongoing stress triggered sleep problems. So if we've got a reasonable level of stress, only maybe a 3 or 4 or lower, we're more likely to have that better sleep. And the story I was going to share today was about a lady named Melissa. And she had just been rejected by her boss. So she was seeking a relationship. She ended up getting fired and having somewhat of a restraining order put against her from unwanted advances. So rejected by the boss, lost the job, financial stress, and then actually ended up overnight in the mental ward of the hospital because she was having extreme nightmares and extreme thoughts that she couldn't control. She'd come to me to see if we could work on some of that stuff. So one of the first things I do with anyone in that sort of situation is, number one, check that safety is taken care of. So that was something that we chatted about last week as well, and something I said, if it does get too much, call an ambulance, call the hospital, take care of that side of things. And then we just started to work on making sure each day still had a few good things in place. And really the top 5 that made a difference for her was getting back into yoga. She also loved music, so she started playing music again. Having regular breakfast. Breakfast, very good for getting us grounded, good for getting back out of anxiety and stress. Another couple of things. So she already had a bit of a background with yoga, so she got back into yoga and just started to put all these little things in place. Took about 45 minutes a day. Just to get the body at least settled at least once or twice a day. So that was the first thing I was going to share around stress and sleep, is using the body to relax us. Could be Tai Chi, could be singing, could be exercise of some kind, swimming, but using the body as a form of relaxation was one of the 3 things I was going to share tonight.
I love that. And some people have described to me that obviously we know when we're really happy and we release endorphins, and when we do a lot of exercise and we can reduce the amount of adrenaline in our system and that sort of thing. Is what's your take on what sort of exercise we should go to if we're trying to reduce stress?
Yeah, there's a book as well as an audio book called Spark. And the audio version is basically 9 hours into the benefits of exercise. So it can't be understated. If exercise is not happening, it's a little bit harder to get back in a good mood. But really 2 or 3 of the main ones would be Qigong, Tai Chi, and yoga. They tend to work on integrating both the mind and body. I did a year of yoga and Tai Chi in 2014. And after 3 months, I had a whole month of no anxiety at all.
Wow.
There was a lady in the class in her probably late 60s, early 70s. I asked her after a few months or several months, how is her depression going? And she said, what depression?
Wow.
Really, the only thing she changed was doing a consistent 1 or 2 classes a week of those practices.
Yeah, it is incredible, isn't it? When the body and mind can come together and not be at odds with each other, it is incredible. So exercise was your first amazing tip, and it sounds as though we're going for something where you have to really concentrate as well.
So sorry, do you mean that, like we physically kind of have to make sure we're doing something
to
get out of the pattern of stress?
Yes.
We almost want to challenge the stress. We can do it through the body. And the second way is using it through the mind. So if we think about Melissa, the lady that had the struggle being rejected by the boss and losing her job, the next thing we looked at is getting her out of her feeling like she was a failure or regretting what she'd done and that sort of thing. And we did that by asking some power questions. And a couple of those included, what can I learn from this? So
Yeah.
if she could find something she could learn from this, that would be valuable. You know? Did she get any signals from the boss that indicated he was actually interested? Was he genuinely a match for her? Could she find someone in the future that was more of a match, and so on? And then also looking for opportunities. Now that she doesn't have this job and have this whole boss relationship fiasco hanging over her head, what is she now free to do? So looking for a new perspective, looking for a learning, using the mind to start to turn that one around as well.
I love that. I really love that. Like, and you call them power questions. I love the fact that they're called power questions as well. So it's putting you back in control and saying, hey, hang on a minute. No, this is how I'm feeling about this right now. And this is how it could be.
Yeah, I'll pop the power questions in the group as well. So there's a list of those. There's about 5 or 6 I rotate between, depending on the problem. Another one of my favorites, definitely for like a relationship stress or even just anything else going on in my life, is what would love do now? That immediately makes me think, how can I be loving to the other party, or what's the most loving thing I can do for myself today? And that can kind of soften the energy of having to do so much and be successful and whatnot, to just, okay, what does the heart want right now? Yeah.
So keep bringing it back to yourself. Keep bringing it back. Instead of focusing on the external, keep bringing it back to you.
Yeah, and particularly if you're a big worrier of others and a big nurturer of other people, yeah, bring it back to you. Bring it back to, what do I need right now to get settled? Do I need time to myself, or what do I actually need to be able to settle the body and mind? Yeah.
Love that. We've been joined by quite a few people, Jeremy. I'll just come out and say hi to everybody. So we've got Kelly. Oh, it's going to go in. Yep, we've got Kelly. Kelly from New Zealand. We've got Janet. Janet, let us know where you're from in the world. And we've got Sharon as well. So thank you so much for joining us. I know we've got a few more people than I can actually see right now. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Jeremy around dealing with stress, how maybe, you know, some of the amazing tips that Jeremy has shared with us today around exercise and around loving yourself, and also understanding the power questions, these amazing power questions. If you've experienced that and you've had some amazing success dealing with stress yourself, or if this is the first time you may be hearing these tips and you've got a question about how maybe to do that in your life with what you have going on right now, please feel free, pop your comments in below, pop your questions in below. And we'll just keep going for another couple of minutes. I'm super conscious that Jeremy and I, we want to keep these lives really short so that we know that everyone's got busy lives in lockdown at the moment, but there's also other things that we want to do in our lives. So this is always going to be short, sharp, and punchy. Just come in, have a chat, bring their tips and hints to you, and then allow you to implement them instantaneously. So Jeremy, whilst I'm just waiting for anybody to see if they have a question, if there was, out of these 3 amazing tips that you've got, how would somebody recognize when they've been able to master these 3 tips so they're not feeling stressed anymore? What would be going on for them in their body where they'd be able to go and acknowledge, my stress is reducing now, or okay, that's not working, my stress is the same?
Okay, so if we're kind of checking in with finding something that's going to genuinely reduce a person's stress, really testing and measuring. So I know with me, when I did the Tai Chi for the whole year, my reward came after 3 months, and I noticed I'd had no anxiety at all for a whole month. That was a pretty clear indicator to say, okay, I'm going to keep doing this thing for a while and maintain some kind of exercise for the long term, because I got that that quick reward. When I gave up all sugar, dairy, wheat, meat, and alcohol for 2 weeks, a couple of years prior, it took 5 days and my energy levels more than doubled.
Wow.
Everybody's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
But I'd suggest the things that do help to reduce stress, increase energy, and sleep better, they're common, and you could say they've always worked.
Yeah.
So if we do a breathing exercise and a meditation, generally we're going to feel a little bit better than if we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Similar to doing kind of the recommendations that generally increase health, drinking water, having breakfast and consistent meals, and these sort of things.
Okay.
And probably the one thing, if I've found anything that helps to reduce stress, probably the best is to solve the problem.
Oh,
I
gosh,
remember
yes.
I'd had a financial stress, might have been 3 or 4 years ago, and I realized, hang on, for 2 months, I hadn't even been working on the stress. I was stressed. Knew I was going to be short on money, but I hadn't even spent 1 hour thinking about how can I increase income or reduce expenses. So yeah, getting to work. If there's a health stress, what can we do to alleviate that? If there's a financial stress, is there someone that needs to be contacted? Registering for JobKeeper or JobSeeker in Australia. Asking for help.
Yes.
Calling companies to get loans pushed back a few months. Starting a side business that is low risk. Researching wealth. So there'd be a number of things to start to take action on. So I found, solving the problem or at least working on it provides that feeling of achievement, and I'm not feeling like I'm in a rut anymore. There's like a feeling of relief being back in the game.
And you're taking back control, aren't you? You're empowering yourself that the problem isn't controlling you. You're actually in a position where you're not the victim anymore as well.
Yeah. So I think if you're in action, then
you're
out of a feeling of helplessness or victim type state. Yeah. But I guess
that's fantastic.
Stuck or there's no hope feeling would be the opposite of that. And that's where it might be, applicable for some to go, okay, what's the thing I've been putting off for a month or a year that needs to start to get some action on it?
So I'm just going to go through the comments before we close out for today. We've got Vicky who's joining us from Lake Macquarie at New South Wales. Kelly said, thanks for all the great information. We've got 6 people watching us all over the world. So wherever you are, and for watching us afterwards as well. If this has been useful to you, that's great. Let us know which tip has given you the most information. And then that's going to help us for when Jeremy comes back next time and go, okay, yeah, we can go into more detail on one of these. And obviously, if you're watching this live after the live, please put in the comments #replay and any questions that you have. And if you tag Jeremy and myself, and then we can come back and make sure that we can answer your question afterwards as well. And Jeremy's going to be with us for the next couple of Wednesdays. Thank you so much for your time, Jeremy, in advance, helping everybody here whilst we're going through this lockdown. Vicky said, thank you for the great advice, Jeremy. So we're going to be doing lots more conversations with Jeremy. If you have any specific questions or any topics that you think this would be a really, really good conversation to have with Jeremy next Wednesday, then please feel free. Just pop your own post in Helping the World Sleep Better and tag myself and Jeremy, and we'll see what we can do to tailor one of the live chats coming up in the coming weeks. Jeremy, again, I want to say thank you very much for the time that you're taking. If there is one last tip that you'd like to leave everybody with tonight for how to get a better sleep tonight and stress, or to remove the stress, what would it be?
Okay, so everyone, I know you've been listening for maybe the whole 20 minutes or maybe even just the last few minutes. You'd like to close your eyes for just 10 seconds, and I'll go ahead and do this as well. And feel this in every cell of your body. I'm going to sleep well tonight. And really feel it. I am going to sleep well tonight.
Love that. That's great.
Yeah.
So I suppose on that note, we can just say sweet dreams to everybody.
Sweet dreams. And yes, set that intention
Okay.
that beautiful sleep can return.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.